County Council Work Session of Tuesday, December the 11th, 2012. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Calling the roll, Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Brady.
Here.
Mr. Germana.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Schron. Ms. Conwell.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent. Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Ms. Simon.
Here.
Mr. Greenspan.
Here.
And Ms. Conley.
Here. Okay. Can we have a motion to mark Mr. Jones as excused? Moved by Mr. Brady and seconded by Mr. Miller. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we'll mark, and also for the meeting, he is out of the jurisdiction apparently. We have now a opportunity to have our ethics training. I'd like to thank Mr. Greenspan for setting this up. And Ms. Hara, would you like to do the introduction on this?
I would. Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, council members. Elise Hara, Director of HR for the county. Last year, we proposed and created a county training team, and currently there are 3 employees in HR that are dedicated to countywide training. And the goal is to handle as much training as possible in-house. A, we have the expertise. 2, it's cost-effective. Before you have a list of trainings that have been completed. If you have any questions about those, feel free to ask us. The goal is obviously to ease the training process and create online training when called for. So this evening, we are going to be doing an online training. Last year, we trained over 4,700 employees live. You can imagine what an onerous task that was in terms of bringing people together in groups of 300 and pulling them away from their jobs. So one of the goals that I had been tasked with by the executive was to facilitate the process. So today you're going to have what amounts to about a half-hour training, and I will introduce Kathy Jackson, who is the training manager. She's here with Casey Pena, who is also on the training staff. Kathy will walk you through the slide presentation, and if you have any questions at the end about her training program and what she's accomplished this year, please feel free to ask her. At the conclusion of the session, please sign the forms, and they will be collected and then placed in your personnel files. The attached test to your confirmation form is the test that is done online to confirm that employees have done it online. It's sort of like the last piece of the puzzle.
Do you have to do this?
You do. You don't have to do it, but I thought that you might want to see what it, and the reason for it is just to make sure that employees have completed their training. So no further ado, Kathy? Kathy, by the way, has been with us for a year, and she came to us from Progressive. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As Ms. Hara said, I'm going to run the presentation for you. It's all done with live voices, so I won't have to talk. So you won't have to listen to me, but you'll probably recognize who it is that's actually doing the speaking. So I'll go ahead and get it started for you. It's going to take about 20 minutes for us to actually get through this.
The County Ethics Ordinance was passed by County Council and signed by County Executive Ed Fitzgerald in 2011 and has been amended since. The Ethics Ordinance has 3 main purposes. First, to set minimum standards of ethical conduct for all of us. Second, to provide a process to disclose unethical practices. And third, to establish penalties for those who violate the Ethics Ordinance. Please move to slide 3. The Ethics Ordinance requires that all employees, volunteers, lobbyists, and contractors undergo annual ethics training. Participants are also required to sign a statement acknowledging they have undergone training and that they have read, understood, and agreed to the information in the Ethics Ordinance. The County Ethics Ordinance has 2 main components. First, it includes ethic laws that are contained in the Ohio Revised Code, or ORC. The ORC is Ohio state law. The second component of the county ethics ordinance are county provisions that are not found in state law, but that are consistent with the Ohio Revised Code. The Ohio Revised Code prohibits the misuse of confidential information. This means that no one may disclose any information that has been designated as confidential. It does not matter whether the information is an electronic computer file or in paper form. Confidential means exactly that. Please move to slide 6. Also in the state law is a prohibition against securing anything of value. This means that employees cannot use their influence to receive anything of value or even an offer of anything of value if that item could create a substantial or improper influence upon the employee. The key question is, could this create an improper influence on the decisions an employee is making? A vendor providing a promotional item to promote their product, like a pen or a keychain, most likely couldn't provide a substantial or improper influence. But remember, it is always better to be safe than sorry. Please move. According to the Ohio Revised Code, those convicted of violating the laws on the previous 2 slides, the misuse of confidential information, or securing anything of value or the offer of anything of value are guilty of and subject to all penalties and fines for violation of a first-degree misdemeanor. Please move. Soliciting or accepting improper compensation or gratuities for regular duties is also prohibited by the Ohio Revised Code. This means that it is illegal for an employee to request or accept compensation other than his or her county paycheck and county benefits to perform job duties. In addition, the ORC makes it illegal for anyone to promise or give an employee compensation to perform his or her regular duties or to supplement an employee's compensation. Please move. The Ohio Revised Code also states that employees cannot solicit or accept gratuities for employment favors. This means employees cannot request or accept anything of value to hire or appoint a person to employment, to influence pay raises, duties, job placement, location, or promotion. Please move. Anyone convicted of soliciting or accepting improper compensation or gratuities for regular duties or employment favors, the crimes outlined on the previous 2 slides, is guilty of a first-degree misdemeanor, subject to penalties and fines, and disqualified from holding public employment anywhere in the state of Ohio for 7 years. The Ohio Revised Code also specifies political activity that is prohibited for some employees. Classified employees cannot solicit or receive contributions for political parties or candidates, be an officer in a political organization, or take part in politics other than by voting or expressing opinions. Classified employees also cannot make contributions to the campaigns of office holders or candidates for whom they work. Please move. Classified employees can register and vote, express opinions, make contributions to candidates they do not work for, circulate nonpartisan petitions, attend rallies, sign nominating petitions, have political materials displayed at their home or on their property, wear political material on themselves or on a personal vehicle, and serve as an election day poll worker. However, classified employees cannot run for a partisan political office, circulate nominating petitions for a partisan candidate, be an officer in a partisan political group, solicit any contribution for a political party or candidate, sell political party tickets, take part in partisan political activities at the polls, or participate in a political action committee that supports a political party or partisan activity. Please move. Classified employees who participate in any of the prohibited political activities mentioned may be subject to termination from their county position. Please move. As mentioned earlier, some parts of the County Ethics Ordinance are more restrictive than the Ohio Revised Code. One example of this is in the employment of relatives. County employees cannot participate in any decisions involving a benefit to relatives like hiring, appraisal, promotion, approving leaves of absence, etc. Employees also cannot take any part in the hiring process if a full family member is an applicant for the position. Also, individuals can't accept employment in a department in which a full family member has supervisory authority. If an employee becomes related to a supervisor in the same department by marriage, that employee will be transferred. Remember, being related to an employee will not bar a job applicant from being hired unless the hiring authority is a full family member of the applicant. Please move. As stated in the previous slide, employees cannot participate in decisions benefiting relatives, take part in the hiring process if a full family member is an applicant, or work in a department where a full family member has supervisory authority. But who is in your full family? According to the County Ethics Ordinance, your full family includes your spouse, household member, children, grandchildren, siblings, parents, grandparents, all in-laws, including grandparents-in-law, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, or first cousins. Full family also includes relatives for whom you provide half of his or her support, anyone who provides more than half of your support, or anyone claimed by you or your spouse as a dependent on your federal tax forms. Please move. The County Ethics Ordinance also prohibits the misuse of county resources. This means no employee shall use or permit the private use of county resources like vehicles, equipment, supplies, copiers, printers, mailing, or electronic communication. Please move. Also prohibited in the County Ethics Ordinance is the misuse of official position. Employees are prohibited from ordering goods and services without prior authorization. Supervisors are prohibited from requiring that employees perform personal tasks that do not further the county's interests, perform work outside of the course of normal employment, or purchase goods and services for personal purposes. Please move. Some other examples of the misuse of official position include accepting county monies to attend a conference, then not attending the conference, and not refunding those monies back to the county, representing your opinion as the official position of the county, withholding a document that is considered a public record, or discussing potential employment with a business that is dealing with the county concerning matters within your official duties, and not disclosing this to the Inspector General. Please move. In addition to the Ohio Revised Code and the County Ethics Ordinance, certain conduct is prohibited by the Federal Civil Rights Act of 1964 and other laws. This includes favoring or discriminating against anyone because of their race, religion, age, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, disability, or political affiliation. Also, no employee may harass or make unwelcome advances that interfere with job performance, create a hostile work environment, or attempt to make a person's submission or rejection of advances a condition of their employment status. Please. The County Ethics Ordinance also introduces the duties of the county's Inspector General. The Inspector General is the investigative officer for the county and conducts all investigations pertaining to the County Ethics Ordinance. Please move. After an investigation, the Inspector General may issue letters of notification, admonition, censure, recommend suspension of an employee, suspend an organization's right to bid on or obtain county contracts, or refer violators for additional ethics training. In addition, the Inspector General may refer violators to the Ohio Ethics Commission or to the appropriate law enforcement agencies. Please. Under Ohio Revised Code, a whistleblower is defined as a person who reports possible crimes or violations. Please move to slide 24. The Ohio Revised Code contains specific protections for whistleblowers. It specifies that no one shall take disciplinary action such as removal, suspension, transfer, demotion, or withholding a raise or promotion against a whistleblower. In Cuyahoga County, whistleblowing employees who feel they have been retaliated against should contact the Human Resources Commission. Under the County Ethics Ordinance, there are also certain whistleblowers' responsibilities. employees are required to report a potential violation or misuse of public resources that may be a criminal offense to the Inspector General within 5 business days of the event in question, unless that violation has already been reported. In addition, employees must report their own potential conflicts of interest regarding any matter that the employee may be required to take official action on to their immediate supervisor and the Inspector General. The Ohio Revised Code also specifies a penalty for employees who file false or frivolous complaints. Those who purposely, knowingly, or recklessly report false information are subject to suspension or termination. Please move. Under the County Ethics Ordinance, employees are required to cooperate fully with any investigation by the Inspector General, the Department of Human Resources, or the Human Resources Commission. However, no one is required to violate their constitutional Fifth Amendment rights. Cooperation includes producing any information requested by the investigating agency, unless that information is not subject to disclosure. The County Ethics Ordinance also states that employees shall not engage in secondary employment that is incompatible with their county duties. Employees must complete a secondary employment form and submit it to the Inspector General's office prior to accepting any secondary employment. A form must also be completed if an employee volunteers for an organization that receives funding from the county, and that employee has any financial relationship, like serving as a board member, in that organization. Last, if the Inspector General rules that an employee's secondary employment is in conflict with the employee's county duties, the employee will either terminate that secondary employment or face dismissal from the county. Please, for additional questions about Cuyahoga County ethics requirements, the County Ethics Ordinance can always be found online at the Cuyahoga County Inspector General's website. Other human resources questions should be addressed to your human resources representative or to humanresources@cuyahogacounty.us.
That's the presentation. Are there any questions? Very, very quick.
Quick questions or
Quick presentations.
Thank you for that. How many, Madam Chair, how many county employees have, what percentage have taken this, and how many still need to before the end of the year? We know that.
The sheet that we handed out that has that is 3,000, thank you. 3,664 have taken it to date. We have still 3 classes, in-person classes that we're doing for those employees that do not have access to computers, and we have 3 of those coming up. So we should be complete by the end of this month.
Okay, great. And just one question. I know that as we make changes to the ethics ordinance, which we have over the course of the first 2 years, and in the Inspector General's ordinance, the Inspector General is to notify all the contractors and lobbyists of the changes. What type of notification are employees, those taking this, made aware of changes to the ethics ordinance?
The ethics ordinance, Councilman Greenspan, with respect to the employees, is really HR's bailiwick. So we are responsible for making sure that those changes are adopted in the presentation every year. But the Inspector General is responsible for the vendors in that process, and so that's really a separate process that she works through, and she would be better at able to answer those questions.
So as far as the employees, then, have you been able to communicate those changes? Do you do them once a year, or as the changes are, do you give an update? How do you communicate that?
We do them once a year annually, so the new changes should be reflected in this. I don't believe that I think they are all in this. And then we'll do it again at the end of 2013, and I think we presented this in October. Mm-hmm. We wanted to give employees 2 months to be able to do this, and that also gives us enough time if there were any changes throughout the year to incorporate in the presentation, and this should be fairly easy, an easy tool to update at this point.
And how does the online version differ from this, from the presentation we just received, as far as the mechanics of it? Obviously, the content's probably the same.
Okay, I'm not sure that I understand your question.
So if we were to do this online, what would that process look like?
Same as this. Same as this process is no different. You would actually go through and it would play for you. What we've have the way that we have it set up is for someone that has some type of handicap, it would automatically go to the next slide, but the process would be exactly the same. At the end of this, then they would be required to take that test that's attached to your sheet in order to show that they have completed it.
And would they take that, is it an online, they would fill out the form online, or would they have a paper document they'd have to submit?
It would be online.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes.
Just wanted to know, is this the same presentation that was put on the computer for us to go to MyHR?
Yes, it is.
I don't have to do that now.
No, you don't. As long as you sign the form, that shows that you did it. You're done.
Take the test.
Again, you're not obligated for you to take the test, but
But you need the statement.
just need the statement that proves that you've taken it. That's all we need for our records.
And this is every 2 years?
Every year.
Every year?
Every year. Yes.
Okay, so we need to tell Mr. Shrine and Mr. Jones to make sure that they take it. Okay.
Yes. Other questions?
All right, other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any miscellaneous business? Do we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair.
We have a motion to adjourn. We got 35 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So how do we answer? How do we answer number one? Is number one a question? Director Hare? Director Hare, is number one a question? It just says the following. It's not for number one, it just says the following persons. So I thought there was a list of.